My name is Matt Young. I'm 38 years old, and I was born and raised in Metro Detroit. I grew up in a blue-collar, working-class home with both parents and an older sister, and I found blading through roller hockey, like many of us. And my first pair of skates was probably Bauer or Submission hockey skates. But a guy down the street, an older guy, him and his buddies aggressive skated. And one summer, probably the summer in between 7th and 8th grade, which would have been like 98 or 99, that whole summer me and my buddies, we kept riding our bikes back and forth up and down their street, kind of just watching, right? Breaking our necks, watching them skate. And finally, one of them was like, yo, why don't you guys just pull over and hang out? And we tried to play it off all cool, right? Like, oh, who, us? What are you talking about, you know? But surely we sat down and we started just going over there every day that summer. And finally, one of the dudes gave me a used pair of K2 fatties, and that was my first pair of aggressive skates. I really loved skating. It was a big part of my life for a small part of my life, because only a few years after that, everybody kind of stopped skating, and we started driving and partying, and that's when I started getting into music and music production and performances, live performances. Music really dominated my life for about 15 years, pretty much from the time of middle of high school all the way through until I was well into my 20s. And I loved music. I loved performing. I loved recording. I loved doing all the booking and promotions aspects of it. But with the music came everything else. The late nights, the partying, and with that I found myself just getting in trouble with drugs and alcohol. And for a long time I was able to kind of sustain it and maintain it as a lifestyle. But once I had my daughter, my eyes opened up, and I realized I had to really make some serious changes and get serious about life, And then about 10 years ago, really motivated by being a parent and having my daughter, I decided to sober up. And I stopped doing music and settled into more of a traditional career path. And the thing that was there for me in those earliest years of sobriety was skating. I came back to something that I loved when I was a kid, and I wasn't sure what to expect of it. I wasn't sure what to expect of myself, but I needed something to fill my time, and I needed an outlet to really channel all of this newfound energy and emotion as I worked through my sobriety. And skating was perfect for that. When I first came back to skating, I started skateboarding actually. I figured it would be fun to try something new. And it was, but quickly I got bit by the skating bug. And I knew I just wanted to put some skates on and go back to what I was comfortable with. And immediately fell back in love. I'm definitely skating at a higher level now than I ever did as a kid. Like I said, when we were younger, it was mostly just something all of us did after school. And you kind of take it for granted at that stage in your life. Now I work a full-time job, I have a family. So when I can go and skate, man, it means so much more than it did when you're just kind of loitering around at the skate park. I have a few hours each week, and those hours are precious to me. And they're really crucial for my mental health, honestly. I think mental health and addiction is something that our community deals a lot with. And a lot of it is kind of behind closed doors, but I'm sure all of us know somebody, either personally or ourselves, struggle with aspects of mental health and drugs and alcohol. And it's super prevalent in our culture, not just the skating culture, but our culture, our Western culture in America. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, was to tell my story and to be hopefully an encouragement to those who are maybe going through some of these same struggles, to know that sobriety is cool. You can still have like a lot of fun in life as a sober person. I'd say my sober years have been the best years of my entire life. I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been. I'm in the best mental and spiritual shape I've ever been in my entire life. And it's not a coincidence that all of that happened after I started dealing with my addictive tendencies and after I abstained from alcohol. I think there's something to be said about the mentality of a skater and how it kind of lends itself to these personality types that we see within our community. Just by the sheer fact that we put on skates and go and willingly hurt ourselves, or at least put ourselves in harm's way, right there eliminates a lot of mental space that a vast majority of the population has. Most people, that doesn't sound interesting to them. If you say, hey, after work, do you want to go hurl your old ragged body down 10 stairs so that you can bust up your knees for a selfie clip on Instagram? Most people in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s are going to have the right mind and sense to say, no, that doesn't sound like something I want to do. But those of us who want to do it, it's not even that we want to do it. We can't help but do it. Like, I need to do it. And when I have these tricks or these spots in my mind, man, it just eats away at me until I can go and accomplish whatever these goals are that I've set. There's the old debate about what skating is. And to me, I think of it as an art. I think of it more artistically, but I treat it more as like a sport, I guess. And what I mean by that is, I do train, I do schedule, I do plan things, and I work towards goals in a very systematic way. But that's just because that's what works for me and what I enjoy doing. And so typically times in like the skate parks would be like training sessions and honing in skills and movements, but that's always with the goal of then taking it to some sort of spot out in the streets with the goal of capturing it in a way that I envision in my mind. Like, the artistic process is a huge part of the overall process of skating to me. It's what I love. But I also just love the mental battle of accomplishing and achieving things I didn't know if it was possible. When you come up with these ideas and then you sit there and you have this mental battle with yourself of if this is going to even be physically possible, and then even if you know it's possible, there's still then this additional battle of, am I mentally prepared to do this? And then when you check those boxes and you do it and you battle it, first you get close, and then you continue to persevere, and then you lace it, and then you lace it again, maybe for a second angle or something, clean it up. And then when you can just sit there and reflect back on it, and especially when it's documented, you can see when the clip matches what you saw in your mind. That is the best feeling in the world. To me, that is skating. That is skating. And then about 5 years ago now, a coworker with mine started talking to me about Jesus, about Christianity. And at this point in time, I would have considered myself either agnostic. I was really into Buddhism and philosophy, and I studied a lot of religions, but I didn't hold a particular belief system. I wasn't raised in a religious household. But this coworker did a great job of talking to me about Christianity. And the Bible came into my life at the most perfect time. I, like most people, grew up thinking that religion was all about if you do enough good things and if you stop doing bad things, that somehow that's gonna tip the scales in your favor with God. But it wasn't until I read the Bible that I realized that that's not what New Testament Christianity is. New Testament Christianity isn't about a bunch of do's and don'ts. And being a good Christian isn't being somebody who does a bunch of good things and doesn't do a bad thing. The Bible isn't a book about perfect people. The Bible is a book about broken people. And the Bible is a book about a perfect God and a hope and a redemption found in him only through grace and mercy and humility. The Bible says that salvation is not of works, but that it's a free gift of God. And when I realized that, it blew my mind, because I had never heard that before. Coming to my faith journey now, and over these past few years, studying and walking closer with the Lord has really opened my eyes to a whole new world of purpose and peace and love that we can find in life and in ourselves and in others and in community. And it has changed my life in the most wonderful ways. And I know that that sounds corny. I know it does. But it's absolutely true. And it's been true for millions of people around the world for thousands of years. And I promise you, I have no doubts that it would be true for you too. Thank you guys for watching this. I hope this video is a blessing to you. If you ever have any questions about sobriety, faith, or mental health, depression, anxiety, ADHD, any of these things, man, I pray that you'd reach out to me. I pray that you know that I'm here, and I'd love to talk. I'd love to answer any questions the best that I can. But more importantly, I'm always just here with an open ear. I love you guys. I love this community. And I pray that I can just be a light within it. Thank you guys.